I remember watching the first time I saw a stand-up on TV, and I was like, man, that's got to be one of the greatest jobs ever. Like, I mean, to make people laugh for a living, that's got to be awesome. So I would started following it after that. I would start watching not just Pryor, but Brian Regan, these cats, Franklin Ajayi, a lot of these, and just looking at their styles. And I've always kind of gravitated towards the conversationalist of stand-up. That's why I like Franklin. A lot of people don't know who Franklin Ajayi is, but if you look at his stand-up, like that dude is a beast. And so I was always a fan of that. But what pushed me to finally do it was I lost my best friend, God rest his soul. And when that happened, it kind of shook something in me, because I was like, man, you know what? Because he was young when it happened. And so I said, you know what? I should probably do something with my life that I've always wanted to do before, because I didn't know when my time was going to be up. So I said, let me try stand up. And that's, like I said, I would go down, sign up for the open mics, finally got on stage. And from that moment, bro, I mean, as nervous as I was, from that moment, from the first laugh I got, I was like, all right, this is it. And here we are 20 years later. Oh my God, I just got more gray hair.
So can you walk me through that first time that you actually got up on stage? So you had signed up a bunch. You realize, okay, now it's time. I need to get up. And what was going through? Was it a full audience? Was it just comedians?
No, it was audience, and that's why I said that's what I always loved about the club, is that the club normally had people in it. It's very rare that it was mostly comedians. But, we would all sit in the back. So I knew all the comics were in the back anyway. The people that were up front were in the audience. And my chest was pounding the entire time, just like crazy, just pounding like crazy. And then it was only 3 minutes. It was like a 3-minute set. But I'm telling you, it felt like 30 minutes. And I remember it. I could not tell you exactly the entire set. I do remember I used to have a joke where I asked, how did small towns become created? Like, I think the setup was like, man, how did they come up with these small towns? Do they just kind of run out of gas and say, you know what, we're just going to stay here? You understand? So it was like some obscure kind of joke, but it got laughs for that. I mean, I don't know if I would try the same joke now. I'd probably rewrite it a ton of different times. But so it got enough of a laugh, and that set got enough of a laugh to where that feeling of emotion that I got, I was like, whoa, that came from my brain, and I put it on paper, and I put it out to these people, and they laughed at it. Oh, wow. All right. I might be on to something here. So that's what the first experience was like. But I think for me, the defining moment for me was when I got booed. That's when I knew. And that came like a year and a half later or something, 1.5 years, 2 years later. Same as area, Seattle, and they had a competition. It was a talent competition. Now, this is where I learned to really read flyers, because it wasn't a comedy competition. It was a talent competition, meaning that anyone with a talent can come there and demonstrate their talent. So it was at this casino, and the flyer said the show was going to start at 9:30. Didn't start at 9:30. Started around 11:30.
Wow. And
I was the only comedian on the venue, only comedian in the entire thing. And so they had booty shakers, rappers, spoken word, all this, everything else. And so by the time I got on, it was like 2:00 in the morning. And something told, so I was like, whoever won got to open up a Bernie Mac. So I'm like, yo, I can't not take this chance. I got to do it. This is part of, paying your dues. And so it was kind of like theater in the round setting almost. And by that time I had a solid few minutes. I did have a solid, decent set. So I remember thinking, man, Todd, this is probably not a good idea to go on. No one wants to see. Oh, before I tell the story, can I tell the story with real words?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So I doubted going on, because I was like, it's 2:00 in the morning. A couple of like strippers was just on. Like, don't nobody want to hear jokes after seeing titties. Like, ain't nobody really trying to pay attention to jokes. So I said, but you know what? This is what I have to do to break into this business. So the dude who introduced me gave me this hyped up intro, bro. Now mind you, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. He gave me this hyped up intro. This guy coming to the stage, you've seen him on this show, and this show. He's been on this and this. And I hadn't been on anything. I hadn't been on one single show at all, nothing. But I'm like, but the people are getting, the more things he named, the more people are like, yo, who the hell are we about to see, you know? So I'm on the side like, bro, I don't know why you would do this, but that's okay. So he brings me up, dap and all that, hugs and all of this stuff. And I could tell by people looking, they're like, we've never heard of this dude. We've never seen this guy anywhere before, but it's fine. This is also before YouTube and all that stuff where you can kind of Google and all that stuff. Oh, more gray hair just came in when I said that. So, so I go up, and the first joke that I did was a joke that I knew killed in the Northwest. And so the joke is, I can kind of remember this joke. I said I'm from Chicago. When I tell people I'm from Chicago, they think about gangs. And I said, it must be hard for gang members in Washington State, because when you come from certain parts of the country, you can tell them where you're from and you just automatically seem tough. Like if you tell people you from Chicago, it's like, yo, it's like this gang and that gang. LA is like the Bloods and the Crips. I said, you don't really have tough sounding names in Washington State. Like, you're like, yeah, man, I'm in the gang. Where you from? Like, Walla Walla. And I'm telling you, the joke would get laughs. It was one of my strongest jokes. And so I told the joke, and the girl right up front, like almost arm's length from me, stands up and she's like, fuck you. And I'm like, and so again, I'm only a year and a half into the business, and I didn't know how to deal with hecklers. So my immediate response, being from Chicago, was, fuck you. So then her boyfriend stands up and he's like, nah, man, fuck you. And I said, no, fuck both of you. And so it went back and forth for a minute, and I can see the dude who introduced me on the side just kind of looking at me like, yo, deal with him. It's a heckler, deal with him. And I'm looking, I'm like, I've been doing it for like a year. I don't know how to deal. I don't know how to deal with hecklers, man. And so I try to, instead of dealing with them, I try to just go back into the set. And then they stand up again. They start doing the boo. They start doing the little wave thing. And I'm telling you, they are this close to me. So as this is happening, I'm like, it was surreal. Like that was when I first understood the term surreal, because it felt like my spirit had left my body, went to another side of the room, got a drink, and was watching me bomb. Because I couldn't leave. Like I had to stay there and watch this play out. So I finished the set a few minutes, and the dude who just gave me this hyped up intro and all of this stuff takes the mic from me, but doesn't even look me in the face. Like he just takes the mic, and as I'm walking off, he's like, yeah, all right. Anyway, you guys, and he tries to just go back into closing out the show. As I'm walking out of the venue, things seem like they were going in slow motion. You ever seen like those sports commercials where the athlete is leaving and people are cheering them on? Mine was the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying? People were just like, boo, in slow motion boo. Like I got one old lady gave me the middle finger. Like and I was like, this is not happening. So I'm in the car. My whole point of this is I'm in the car driving home. It's about a 25-minute drive home. And the whole time I keep saying, I got booed. I cannot believe I got booed. And the very next thing I said was, I can't wait to do it tomorrow night. And that is the exact moment I knew that I wanted to be a comedian.